This Can't Be Happening in MacDonald Hall by Gordon Korman, published in 1978, and I believe I first read it in about 1981. This is during my Jay ShayAThon where I'm reading books, so I thought it appropriate to do a reread, not in memory because Catalyst Read is still around, but he put forward a thing of like rereading old favorite books, and this is indeed one of my earliest old favorite books. In school was very serious, and they always wanted you to read stuff for like a very serious social issue or purpose or history or something like that, which was quite alien to me because I was somebody who started reading before I got to school, thankfully, and I read for pleasure. And I find now, whereas probably a lot of my schoolmates not so much readers, I still read, and it's because I read for pleasure, and I had that habit right from the beginning. Now, why this is connected to school for me particularly is it's a scholastic book, and then we would get the little catalog at school, and you could kind of go through it and then fill out what you would want to buy. And this is one of the books that I chose, so it's also got kind of a distinction of being something I wasn't pushed upon by parents or by school, but was something that's actually connected to school for me. So yes, this is written by Gordon Korman, who was actually 12 years old when he first apparently wrote this, and it was actually published when he was 14. I'm not quite sure how much help he had. It's definitely it's even while it's a first novel and it's probably kind of rough, and it's a very light kind of cream puff of a thing. It's actually quite a well designed little cream puff of a thing. Bruno and Boots, the heroes of the story, go to MacDonald Hall, a private school, private boarding school. So it's a boarding school novel where they get into all sorts of trouble. And indeed, in the first chapter, they get into so much trouble that they get split up and are forced to go away. One to have to room with a rich snob guy, and the other one, Bruno, to have to go and hang out with Elmer Drisdale, who is horrors a nerd, which back in the very, very early 80s wasn't the thing that was going to make you the hero of a book, but more on him later. And so it is what's on the tin. It is a hilarious boarding school comedy, and things that come up at the beginning. They switch the Canadian flag, little Canadiana, indeed. MacDonald, being John A. MacDonald Hall. This is a very Canadian book. It's got that pleasure to it. So the Canadian flag gets switched for the Melbonian flag, which indeed gets tied up in the very last chapter. So it's a well constructed comedy that way. You get callbacks, and it pays off in the very end. So yes, while not being any great literature, and I wouldn't think anyone should pick it up thinking, who's come to it as an adult thinking, oh, is this going to be something that's going to resonate for an adult? It's like, no, I think this resonates for the young Jay inside of me who read it at the time and really laughed uproariously over this stuff, because this was my first connection with kind of comedic writing, and really well done, really struck all the right notes for me. So yes, that is This Can't Be Happening at MacDonald Hall by Gordon Korman. I will pass over the fact that apparently in later editions, much later editions, he went back and put cell phones into it and all sorts of other kind of technology to try and kind of update it and I guess make it more relevant to the kids today. I will just pass over that in silence. I of course read the original 1978 version of it that I enjoyed so much in the 80s, when I was a young innocent child who had no idea that there would be phones that could be filming you and then you'd be beaming yourself out into the internet. So yes, with that, more videos later.